Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers 97 times. Miller Lite. Woo, shout out. Welcome to this edition of Road Trippin with RJ and Channing. I'm your host, ALLIE Clifton. We're coming to you from the Blue Wire Studios inside the Wynn Las Vegas. It is beautiful. It is wonderful here, as always.
Ugh.
Richard is remote. He actually was just, in case it's still a part of the episode, he was just blending himself a margarita.
What did you end up making, Richard?
A little whiskey soda. But the ice in the ice machine was coming. I was trying to get cubed. It was coming out as crushed. So
Crushed is the only way to get
crushed or
ice.
cubed.
The fact that you have an option shows how rich you are.
But it's about the surface area. The smaller the ice, the faster it melts. And so,
Don't you just want a big cube? Just one?
Yes, if you're gonna go whiskey neat, which is a great way to enjoy it.
Yeah.
The way Channing loves wine is the way I enjoy whiskey bourbon.
Oh.
You like that analogy? You like that?
Sort of. I don't know if Richard. I don't know if Richard has a.
Wow.
It's been a
Wow.
It was a late night for Channing.
Wow.
No, I'm actually fine.
Wow.
I have dyslexia sometimes.
Look, start that hair of the dog, big guy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Hair of the dog. We're already on the back of the dog. We're at the tail. Listen.
You're sniffing buttholes. You're sniffing buttholes. That's what you're doing.
Wow. I had 2 jokes for that, and I'm choosing the right one, which is disgusting. And the other one was.
Sick. I can't. You guys are so gross.
Anyways.
By the
Richard,
way, with that sloth on your chest.
Dude, yes. It's the best. What is your whiskey like? What does your whiskey library look like? Like, what is that? I never actually seen it. Do you just drink one?
First of all, let me just say this, because you'll appreciate this just being in Portland. My favorite whiskey library is the Multnomah whiskey. Is it Multnomah whiskey library in Portland? Yeah. That place is beautiful, amazing place. But my whiskey library at my bar is just all the whiskeys. I just want all the bourbons. I love the Japanese ones, the Nika, the malt.
Do you have them in your house? Do you have like a special section?
Yes, I have them all. No, I just have it. I just have like, because I have that at a bar, so I have like, tequilas and all whatever. Right. And
but you don't have
on
a
the bottom
special
level,
section
it's
for your whiskeys.
I have like legitimately. You've been to my downstairs, bro. Like the
Richard,
actual bar.
I know, but I'm saying you're a whiskey guy. You said I'm a whiskey. Yeah. You're a whiskey guy, like I'm a wine guy. I literally have thousands of bottles of wine. Do you have 10 to 15 different bottles of whiskey that you like or try?
I probably most of the time have somewhere between 25 and 30.
Wow. You got money. Have you ever had
no, because it's like, if you think, because I like so you got Woodford Reserve, you got Basil Hayden, you have Blanton's, you have multiple different mezcals, which I'm a big mezcal fan. I know that's a tequila, but I'm saying it gets like a smoky, peaty kind of bourbon flavor. There's High West. Then there's, again, you get into like all the different ones. And so once you kind of like buy like Angel's Envies, Four Roses, there's so many ones that the Jefferson one is great. Jefferson has like 4 different ones. I'm a big Frank Sinatra. Jack Daniels did a Frank Sinatra one. So I have a couple of those. So that's what I'm saying. It's like whiskeys aren't something like a wine. You drink a bottle of wine, that bad boy's gone. A whiskey's something that you buy it and, you 2-3 shots every, couple of weeks of it. So it just kind of sits up there. So ultimately you just, every night. So ultimately a little 3-finger pour. Sometimes it's, sometimes depending on the day, it could be a 4-finger pour. So that
sounds like a good time.
I said, I love it.
I knew those.
Do
you prefer 3 or 4?
You little nasty. You little nasty.
Nasty.
Stop me before I get too far. Wow. Okay, guys, we have a special guest coming up at the end of this episode. But before we get there, we want to talk, obviously, season is right around the corner. And we want to look into the NBA, if you will. So kind of like the preseason, the early talk. We're going to do a team preview.
And
then we're also, not really. We're going to go by division.
Okay.
Divisions out of the East.
Boo-boo teams.
And divisions out of the West. And then we're also going to do like a player preview.
Okay, here we go.
So let's start with our team preview, the Eastern Conference. And I want to know who you guys think will win. First of all, do you even know who is in the Atlantic Division?
I was in the Atlantic Division.
Okay.
Philly, Brooklyn, Boston,
Brooklyn, New York, and
Toronto.
No.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, Toronto.
Yes. So
that's it.
Who wins the Atlantic Division? I will give you guys
Boston.
the odds right now.
Okay. Boston.
Celtics even money.
Odds.
Nets are 2-1. Sixers 3-1. Raptors 12-1. Knicks long shot.
Wait, the Brooklyn Nets have better odds to win the division than the 76ers?
Yep, 2-1 versus 3-1.
Hey guys, are you watching?
Jeez.
Hi.
Hi. I love the awkward audio. Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. The awkward audio is amazing because people on the audio side won't understand why you guys are just randomly giggling.
I am actually going to say, though, when I looked up, I thought his nose was touching the glass.
It was touching the glass.
Yeah.
He literally mushed his nose against the glass.
In Amsterdam.
Oh, my Lord.
All right. Atlantic Division. Who wins the Eastern Conference?
Boston.
You said Boston.
Yeah.
What about you, Richard? Were you surprised by the Nets over Philly?
The Nets over Philly is more intriguing to me than who's going to win because Boston, look, you added Malcolm Brogdon, which I think solves a lot of problems. Again, if they're healthy, if they can stay healthy, to me, then they're probably a top three team in the East. The top 5 team in the league if they stay healthy.
Can I say this? And this is not. I'm saying this because it's on my heart, and I'm not saying this that I don't think Philly is going to be good, and I'm probably going to catch some slack. I think Philly has. Other than I'm going to take Joel Embiid out, I might take PJ Tucker out. But that team composition is a very front-runner team.
Why?
I don't think I've ever seen Philly move past adversity like most championship. Like, if you're building a championship team, I don't think they put enough players or the right players in that situation, other than maybe PJ Tucker, to fix what they really need. In this day and age, you need 2 to 3 legit, consistent players. Boston's 3 guys that were crazy and consistent were Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and I'm even going to say Robert Williams and Marcus Smart are 1-1, right? Because they may not be the most talented, but they are crazy consistent, and defensively they do things. And then their bench was solid. I don't know. I want to see how Philly deals with adversity this year. But I don't. I know front running is kind of harsh, but like, I don't know how that team deals with adversity. And that's just my question about Philly. I'd like to see them.
Okay. No,
right?
We're on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on the same page. Okay. But I think the way that I see it is more of, when you look at Philly, and I think PJ Tucker is one of those guys that can change the energy in a locker room, right? He's a guy that can no. And look, on a different level, in a very different way, I think Patrick Beverley, as much as he goes over the top, he is a person. Now, it can have an effect. It can also wear you down. But there are certain people that bring a level of intensity to a locker room.
Right.
I think PJ Tucker is one of those guys that is now, and always has been, but known more in the broad sense after winning. But look, I think Miami benefited from having him there. We know what he's done in Milwaukee. And we've also seen places where he leaves, they talk about how much they miss him.
Right.
So when I look at that, I think the value that PJ Tucker brings, especially as he gets older, is going to be less and less physical and more mental and emotional makeup of like, hey, like, we know Miami's got those guys, that Miami just didn't have enough firepower, but he fit right in with Miami because he has that mental makeup. And sometimes you need to bring guys in. So I like addition. So I don't think that they're missing any much. I do. But to your point, the adversity side, yeah, Joel Embiid has to show me through adversity. James Harden has to show me through adversity, because you're not going to win a championship without adversity unless you're a stacked Kevin Durant Warriors team, unless you're a stacked Shaq Kobe team. Like, there's very few times you're going to win a championship without adversity, and there's no team out there currently with any makeup that can win it without it. So Philly has to do it through adversity, and they don't have 2 guys that have done it.
Right. It's hard for me to go, okay, if Philly plays Milwaukee for 7 games, like, I'm like, all right, who you done, right?
With Middleton too, with Middleton.
I just don't see Philly. It's hard for me to imagine in a 7-game series that any of them take on that challenge mentally to say, hey, I'm going to like beat up on Giannis instead of Giannis beating up on us?
We're actually going to go to the Central Division next, and I want to know who can give the Bucks the biggest run. But before we get there, who's the one player that you guys need to see make the biggest impact, difference, change, etc. for Philly? Is it all
James
on Joe?
Harden.
It's James Harden.
It's 100% on James Harden. I think James Harden has the talent. Now, this is what I'm going to say. I don't need 2012, 13, 14 James Harden. I need top 15 in the NBA James Harden. I need him to be Batman and Superman with Joel, not Batman and Robin. I need him to be more aggressive and for each game to matter, because even though, realistically, I think they're a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference, realistically, I need him to come into season in shape. I need him to be like, guys, go here. This is a Joel player. You can't just throw the ball to Joel and then stand there. Like, you're James Harden. You're an MVP of the NBA. Like, take advantage of this opportunity where you're not going to get double teamed. And I want to see him not lean into the free throws, but like actually put his body on the line and create opportunities for his team where it's not just superficial the first 3 quarters. I want to see him make plays in the fourth quarter.
21 games with Philly last year, 21 points, 11 assists.
Of course, easy.
7 rebounds.
It's crazy. He's going to get you.
Those are crazy numbers. Those are crazy numbers, and it seemed like people were on him like he played terribly. That's how great of a player he is.
Yes, absolutely.
I would say this. This is the most important year of James Harden's career. This is the most important year, right? In my opinion, from this standpoint, it's this. We know the accolades are there. We know the greatness is there. There's actually been a little bit of a decline, and people have now questioned him. And so they've really questioned him. And it was like postseason, he struggled. He admitted it. He's taken less money. So when I say that he's having, this is going to be the most important year, it's because will he reclaim his spot as one of the top 10 players in this league for a long time, top 5 players in the league? Will he reclaim his spot, or will he stay in that spot now where our expectations of him should be somewhere between the 15th and 30th best player, right? Because, and that's not a disrespect, but it's like he's kind of fallen out of that top 5 spot. Will he reclaim it? Will he come into shape like Channing said? Will he do all of the necessary things? Will he get his scoring back up to 27, 28 points a game? And if he's not going to do it, that's fine. He's had an amazing career, but then we need to start setting our expectations for him in a different manner. And if we set our expectations for him to give you 22, 11, and 7, which is amazing, then it's going to be somebody like Maxey that has to step up. Somebody like Maxey or Tobias, somebody else on the offensive end is going to have to step up, because we've seen that James, he's not going to be able to give you those 30, 40, 45-point outbursts every third night.
Right.
So somebody else has to step up. I think we can't judge it based off that.
I'm not worried about him scoring. It's more, how much does James Harden affect winning? Right? That's my biggest question. Like,
I think it's everyone's biggest question.
How much do you affect winning? James Harden's going to get you good dummy numbers.
Yeah.
Dummy numbers. Like, the game seems so easy. We talk some of the best shooters in the league. He literally made a step back 3 like a free throw. Mm-hmm. Right? He made getting to the free throw line something that had to be addressed by the NBA. So we're not discrediting his greatness, but how much does he affect winning on this team?
Let me ask you this question really quick, and then we are moving on.
Okay.
I know you guys have more energy for other teams. When you talk about impact on winning and winning when it matters most, does the move that he made this summer to take less money for that roster, is that a step in that? Is that a...
No, yes. I have to see it. I just want some energy on the defensive end.
You need a physical.
And I need a physical. I need him to be energized game 25. I don't need energy every single game.
Really quickly though, in James Harden's defense, in James Harden's defense, we know that his talent and greatness and his scoring generates wins. He's been to the postseason every year, like doing all the things, like we know that wins. Like we to lead a team as the best player to a postseason is not something that we should just gloss over. And he's done it for a lot of years as the best player as this. And again, he lost to the Warriors. Now they should have won, in my opinion. You had some injuries, you had some bad performances, but like his teams that were going toe to toe with what historically goes down as one of the top 5 greatest teams of all time. His teams were going toe to toe with them and coming up short. So it's like we can't talk about how great those were and then all of a sudden act like James Harden is losing to some bums here.
Right.
So like James Harden's game has impacted winning at another level, but he's also had some epic bad performances at the highest levels in his peak performance. So now that we see his performance level dropping a little bit, it's like now you get nervous to be like, okay, can they go win a championship with James not being able to go for 35, 40 on a given night? He's only going to give you 22, which is great for every other player, right? Like great for every other player. Like I was, you guys remember the panel that I was on? I was on that panel a couple days ago with Barkley and Scottie Pippen. I was a fucking amazing basketball player. I was an outstanding basketball player until you compare me to Scottie Pippen. And then I was just okay.
Yeah.
I would say you were boo-boo. You were just
okay. I was just okay.
Straight cheeks.
Like compare me to most of the people in the world. Like I was an amazing basketball player. Compare me to Scottie Pippen. I would say
okay. You're lower third.
Again, great point about James Harden. Again, why I preface with the fact of winning when it matters most, which we're talking championships.
Yes.
All right.
That's what the concern becomes.
Moving on to the Central, this should be pretty easy. Can anyone challenge the Bucks? They are a huge favorite. Cavs 7-1, Bulls 5-1, Pistons, Pacers long shot.
I think the Cavs can, honestly. I just don't think the Bucks have made moves to make their roster energized. I think they
don't need to.
Yes, you do, Richard. If your team expects to make the championship game every year, when they brought in Bobby Portis, that was an injection of energy. Who have they brought in this summer that is an injection of energy that can transfer that hungry energy? Like now Bobby Portis got paid. He established himself. He's going to still be Bobby. Yeah, they're looking at Giannis as like that lead horse, that lead dog to like be himself. That's a lot emotionally. You got to take some of that emotion off of him.
No. Okay. That's fair. That's one school of thought. Okay. I'm not saying that it's wrong. That's fair. That's right. I look at them, Milwaukee, and follow me here. I look at them as more following a San Antonio model. Okay. We've got our core, and this is the core we're going to ride with for X amount of years. We're going to tweak some things. We're not going to overreact. We were one of the best teams in the league. We're the defending champions, and Middleton goes out, and we lose to 7 to a team that goes on to the NBA Finals. Right. So if we get our second best player back, who is one of a 4-time All-Star, we should be in the finals and we have a chance to win a championship. So we shouldn't overreact. And then they have to develop, which historically Bud is always great at. Justin Mora, the guys that they're bringing in, and Grayson Allen bringing him in. Yes, you're going to have to tweak it over. But if you go back and look at the Spurs and their championship stretches and even stretches without championship runs, they kept their core together and then they danced around who they were going to bring in, including
we're seeing
yours
the same
truly.
Thing. Richard, what I'm saying is every Spurs team brought in an injection of energy. My thing is the Milwaukee Bucks have not brought in an injection of energy. Now, it may happen at the All-Star break. It may happen trade deadline. But it's hard for me. The Cavs are younger. They're taller. They're more physical. And you're asking Brook Lopez, who's been notoriously hurt the last 2 years, to be at his best. So now you have to play Giannis at the 5. But if you play Giannis at the 5 against the Cavs, you have 4 guys that are ready for that, right? Or Brook.
It's different
when you have 3 7-footers.
Cleveland could win more games than them. Cleveland could win more games than them. And I wouldn't pick Cleveland to win in the playoffs. That's one of those. Yeah, that's one of those ones where it's like, oh, Cleveland won 52 games because they were crazy. Milwaukee won 51. They won the division, but in a playoff matchup, because of the experience of the 2-time MVP, and this will be the Cleveland's first year together, I wouldn't pick them to win the final. Now they might upset them, but I would view that as an upset. So it's one of those things where you can win more games. Like Utah won the most games, 2 years ago. Not a lot of people were picking them to win the championship.
No. Chicago was like 1 or 2, and then they were boo-boo for the foo-foo.
Who wins? Moving on, the Southeast Division. Heat, big favorites. Hawks 2-1. Hornets 12-1. Wizards, Magic.
Well, this ain't gonna be the Wizards.
Ain't gonna be the Hornets. Ain't gonna be the Hornets.
Trash.
Can the Hawks make it
I don't know. I'm really curious about where the Hawks' energy is. I like the idea, but they're not physical. Like, at the end of the day, you have two smaller-ish guys as your guards. I love the idea of moving Trey off of being the point guard where now DeJounte is, because DeJounte is like a Swiss Army knife, and I love his game. I don't think when he's playing Boston, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, they're going to get beat up. Like, they're just going to get posted up. You have to double team. And so defensively, are they committed to that? Last year, they showed they weren't. The year that they were great, right? The first year with Nate, they were like, oh, we're committed to playing defense. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Last year, at the beginning of the year, they didn't even take it seriously. And they were fucking up. And then now this year, they get all these new guys, but none of their guys really have length or physicality that is going to address the problem.
Clint Capella? John Collins? There's no length, physicality?
John Collins is 6'7".
Length?
So
Clint Capella doesn't play at the end of games. But we're talking about, let's compare them to the top 5. I don't think they're a top 5 team in the East.
My thing with them is this.
My opinion.
In order to maximize both of their guards, DeJounte and Trey, they're going to have to change the way they play. That's the question. So we have 2 young all-star guards, McMillan? 1 all-NBA guard. I'm just saying, we have 2 all-star. You have 2 all-star guards.
Right.
They're now in the same backcourt. One's a triple-double guy, ball-dominant guy, right? Like, let's not make it seem like he's maybe not as great as Trae Young is yet, but he's a young up-and-coming guy. But he's an all-star, and he's a triple-double guy and can do it all. You also have Trae Young, who's led a team to the postseason, can do it all. Not gonna do it all, but on the offensive side of the ball, has a great offensive package. What do you They've got to adjust their games to be able to play together before I give a fuck about what their defense does, before I give a damn about who else is on their team. If the 2 25 and 24-year-old all-star fucking point guards don't adapt their games to play together or have a type of relationship that allows them to figure it out in a positive way, nothing else matters.
Sure.
Nothing else.
When it comes to who comes out of the East, you ready for these?
Yeah.
Celtics and Bucks, both the favorites at 3-1.
Okay. That's about right.
Nets 4-1. Sixers and Heat both around 8-1.
I'm gonna be honest. I put the Heat above the Nets.
The Nets. The Nets is Vegas just stealing money from people. Stealing people.
So many what?
They're stealing money.
Crazy.
Everyone's like, but if this is a great bet, because think about the Nets don't do that, people. Do not bet. We're not going to turn this into a betting podcast quite yet. We're on our way there. Just like everybody else. But let me tell you, don't bet your money on the Nets. I don't care what the odds are.
I just can't go into a season. You never go into a season with 6 what ifs and a dude who's they got 6 what ifs.
You can have no what ifs, and it still takes a miracle for everything to go right.
And they got 6.
Everything can go right, and you got to.
What?
Yeah,
I don't know what
he
you
was
just
right.
said.
He said you could have 0 what ifs.
You need everything to go right with no what ifs.
Oh, cussy mouth.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Okay, heading to the West. This is fun.
Okay.
Who wins the Southwest Division?
New Orleans.
Grizz, even money. Mavericks, 2-1. Pelicans, 4-1. Rockets and Spurs, long shot.
Oh, Dallas is going to be nice this
Mavericks.
year. Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Mavericks.
I think.
Over the Grizzlies? Why?
This is what I'm going to say. I love John Morant. I love the Grizzlies, how they play. I love their organization. Jaren Jackson Jr. does not get enough credit for what he does defensively and with their defensive versatility. They have not gotten better this summer. They've talked a lot, and they've gotten rid of guys that were very important to them, whether that was shooting, whether that was physicality. There are guys that are hurt that aren't going to play. You have to evolve each year, right? You can't, this ain't 1980s. You ain't going to put 5 Rambos out where he's up here killing fools in the jungle 5 different times. You got to evolve, right? And so I don't know if the Grizzlies have evolved this year, and you're asking Ja Morant, who was in the MVP talk for a little bit, to now do that consistently with expectations, which is very hard and a very different attitude towards the beginning of the season. So I don't think they have no defensive versatility.
They've kept progressing, and this is the thing about young players. Young players still have room to grow. Ja Morant's not the best version of himself. Bane is not the best version of himself. Dylan Brooks. These guys are still like in their early mid-20s, so they're not the best version of themselves yet. That being said, like I want them to be healthy. Like we can applaud that they win games without Ja Morant, but when you win games in the regular season without Ja Morant, and then all of a sudden you're having to win games in the postseason without Ja Morant, it's a very different story. And so in order for them to really be the great team that they can be, they need help, and now you start to kind of look at it, dude, it's very hard to play the game the way that Ja Morant does. It's just hard on anybody's body. You've seen that in NBA history. So he's got to give me 75 games, and then he's got to be healthy on a playoff run. Like that's the only way to win a championship. If the Warriors didn't have Steph for multiple games, it was, you saw what happened to their team. So it's a great that they can win without. That's a compliment to their coach, compliment to their team. But you're not going to win a championship without him, and they had to play in the postseason without him this year. And that's the part that, like, between him and big fella's hurt. Going to be hurt to start the season this year.
Oh,
yeah, he's going to be hurt to start the season. So it's like I need help.
Seem pretty united on the Dallas front with the exit of Jalen Brunson. Who outside of Luka?
Oh, they just got my man from
bro. You just need Luka Magic, bro.
Dude, this bothers me. They just got my guy from the power forward from Houston.
Christian Wood.
Yes.
Christian Wood.
So, you know what? I actually, I've known Nico since I was 19, 20 years old. And I got a quick chance to talk to him. And, regardless of what we were talking about with specifics, I love what he said. And he was like, I have to be patient of who I surround Luka with, because what we have is something amazing. And I don't want to rush and bring somebody in and ruin that chemistry. That, to me, number one, shows the sign of like an amazing GM, but that shows the commitment to Luka and his development and his youth. And it shows that they're bringing in the right guys at each step that they take. So they made the first round, they lost. Made the first round, they lost. Last year, they did their thing, beat the shit out of the Suns. Then they lost. So they're progressing. But each year, they're getting better. Now they've, Jalen Brunson, congratulations, going to the Knicks, get that money. But is he that guy that was going to take you to the next level? I don't know. Maybe we'll see. So now he has a little bit of wiggle room. You're allowing Luka to be the full leader, but without, just throwing him into the fire. You bring in Christian Wood, who's an automatic bucket, gives you defensive versatility, length, energy, has he's going to have a new vigor for life because he's playing with a true point guard, right? And just a bucket getter, an MVP caliber player. And I think the environment is going to be good for both of them. I like the Mavericks on paper this summer, like what they've done. I like them in the future, and I'm curious to who they pick up to be their energy leader.
Yeah. Rich.
Yeah, Luka. People, let's not get into what's happened with LeBron James, right? Let's not get into I don't like him. Oh, he's not my like Luka is as special as Bron is, and I will Luka is that type of special, right? Am I lying, Kenny?
No, you're not lying. It's wild to watch. If I were to pay money to watch a player, I would tell you, pay whatever you have to pay to watch him. Because on TV, it doesn't no justice.
Everyone knows, like, LeBron James is going to go down as 1 or 2, depending on what your opinion is, greatest basketball player. Luka is that special. The way he plays the game, what he's able to do, the dominance that he's had at an early age, like the game is a joke for him. He's playing a different game. Now, does he have the physical gifts to play as long as LeBron will and has played? That's yet to be seen. But currently, does he have the same type of, they're playing a different type of basketball game than everyone else? Yes. Like Luka's that guy. And there's been tons of guys that weren't like that. There's only been probably about 7 or 8 in probably NBA history when they showed up. It was like, oh, well, it's different for him. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad that the Dallas Mavericks are taking their time and making sure, like, hey, we're going to build this. We're going to build it methodically. We're going to build slow because we have one of the potential greatest players to ever play the game already at this point in time. He's one of the greatest ever at this age. So even if he didn't get any better than what he is right now for the next 10 years, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yep. Even if he didn't get 1 ounce better, from what he is at 27, 8, and 8.
Was hurt. Yeah. Dude, what? Tim Hardaway Jr. is an automatic 18 to 24 points a game. I think maybe let's go 16 to 20. Let's go 16 to 20. But that's a lot, and they still did all that last year without him.
We could sit here and talk about them forever. Obviously, Luka as well. The amount of times I've
ready to move us on.
Yeah, tweeted. He's just different.
He is different.
Luka, it's awesome.
Everyone knows that damn left step back is coming. He can't do shit about it.
No,
they know it. Here it comes.
What he did to the Phoenix Suns. What he did to the Phoenix Suns and was talking shit.
Oh, love
when he's talking shit to the Phoenix Suns, like Luka's different, man. Like he gets mad and he's gonna take he takes shit personally. Like the way he talks to people. I know, Allie. We'll keep going. Yeah. I'm not gonna look.
I got you. Who wins the Northwest Division? This one can be pretty easy. Nuggets, even money. Timberwolves, 2-1. Blazers, Jazz, Thunder. No disrespect.
I think in
terms of this, Nuggets, T-Wolves.
I'm going to say this.
Have the Nuggets gotten better?
The Timberwolves.
Jamal Murray's back.
But they've lost.
See, that's where I think that's going to be the biggest issue. That's going to be the biggest issue for Denver.
What?
I think that they're going, like, part of it is like just because a person is back, which happens to everyone. Remember when Kyrie first came back from his, Kyrie's back, and it takes a moment to like, just because you got
for like the first 2.5 months of the season, you guys had to like.
No, but what I'm saying is that just because a player comes back doesn't mean that connection, grind, smoothness, 100%. And sometimes like, oh, we have the most talent here because Jamal's back. We should win. It's like, no, motherfuckers, now there's just no excuse to lose. Yeah. There's a difference.
Well,
so I think it could take a moment.
You got Jamal Murray
for them to
back.
Be dominant.
You assume Jamal Murray is going to be 50-50. Then you assume Michael Porter Jr. is going to be 50-50. What do they look like?
Why 50-50 for Jamal?
Well, I'm saying 50-50 because let's say if we have 4 games in a week, he's going to play great too for the first 3 months. He's coming back from that injury, right?
That's fair.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So then after that, now he's trying to get his rhythm. Now he's trying to get not in shape, but he's trying to understand his body. If you really look at like Klay Thompson, he's a freak, right? Like Klay came back, and because Golden State was so good, we never really paid attention to like how many points he was getting early on. Some games he was having 2, 5, 7 points, and then other games he was getting 20, and then the next game he'd get like 10.
What about the addition of KCP? Mm-hmm.
That doesn't move my needle. No offense.
3-and-D. I'm not saying he's obviously there.
No.
Doesn't move my needle.
No.
DeMarcus Cousins?
No.
What? No. Is this 2010?
I'm asking, obviously they don't need star power. I'm asking in terms of like how they've built out their team, and now you're going to see it in a different light.
Their team, those players only become important if Jamal Murray is healthy and their team is playing well.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, okay, their horses are playing well. That's a contending combination, in my opinion. They're healthy. Mm-hmm. Now, who are the other pieces that they have around them? But if those guys aren't playing well, it's the same thing with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. The only thing that matters is how those guys mesh in the backcourt. If they don't mesh, nothing else matters.
Doesn't matter.
We can talk to a blue in the face.
Do you think Denver's a contender this year?
Yeah. I think
contender.
Yes, because
Richard, stop it.
No.
Richard.
Hear me out.
No, I don't want to hear this. That's not even.
Hear me out.
I don't have them in my top 8.
Hear me out.
Okay, listening.
Okay, that's fair. You don't have him in your top 8. The only reason why Jokic has won 2 MVPs is basically because he has carried this team to a high level without their all-star point guard that's 26 years old in Jamal Murray. Yes, he's not an all-star. He's on his way to being an all-star. He's that type of special, the 50-point games in the bubble. That was 2 years ago, and he's missed out on so much progression because of that injury. That being said, if he is the 6th seed without Jamal Murray, their notable second best player, if that means that him coming back and playing a season bumps them to the 3rd season, or the third seed, that's not that. If you're in a top 3 seed in the Western Conference, Eastern Conference, you're a contender. I'm not saying I'm not picking you to win, but that it means you're a contender. That's all. I don't think
one play. I don't think. This is no disrespect to Jamal Murray. Is not
Murray
Kawhi
is their
Leonard.
second best player, bro.
Jamal Murray is not Kawhi Leonard. You can't just insert Jamal Murray and go, oh, they're automatically 3rd.
Agreed. I'm saying that. What I'm saying is that, do I think that they could be potentially a contender next year from the standpoint of could they be a top 3-4 seed in their conference? Yes.
For this argument,
they're 6th, 7th.
Who are your top 3 teams in the Western Conference?
Hang on, we're actually going to get there.
Okay.
Sorry, we're actually going to get there. So hold on to that. Having said that, there's a lot of ifs in general with that conversation because Jamal Murray hasn't touched the floor in over a year.
Michael Porter Jr. too.
Or MPJ, yes. Okay, moving on. Who wins the Pacific Division? Suns, Warriors, and Clippers, all around 2-1. Lakers, 8-1. King's long shot. We don't need to go there. Let's talk about the top 3.
I will say Golden State this year. I think the Suns are gonna. They've lost some players. Damn, but they do play great during the regular season.
Who?
The Suns. I think the Clippers are gonna.
I'm gonna say the Clippers seem rested.
Dude, you know T-Lou.
The Clippers
there's no way the Clippers. There's no way the Clippers are going to be number 1. What? Stop it.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, are they a contender?
Here he goes.
Allie, the Clippers are coming out of the Western Conference. Think about what you just said
about Denver.
The Clippers are coming out of the Western Conference.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you, Allie.
Kawhi in how long?
A year.
Paul George was half of a season.
Okay. Thank you, Allie. See. Now those guys are more proven, but
the Clippers
Jokic
still made the playoffs.
So did the fucking Nuggets both years, bro.
With no, they don't have an all-star or an MVP. The Clippers are exponentially better than Denver.
Paul George didn't play because Paul George didn't play enough games to qualify for an all-star.
Richard, let's just. I know we're arguing. The Clippers are an exponentially better team than the Nuggets. No, it is. They are more built. The Clippers are built to beat everyone. The Nuggets have to rely on.
They need Jamal
MVP.
Murray to play like an all-star. They need Jamal.
MVP. But he needs to be an elite.
Okay, we are about to start. Wait. We are about to start the 22-23 NBA season.
Okay.
2 years ago, Jamal Murray was in the Western Conference Finals. They went from not making the playoffs to making it to the first round. That's fine. I'm not disputing that. Then they went to the Western Conference Finals. The next year, they were like the 3rd seed. Okay. Jamal Murray tears his ACL, so he doesn't get a chance to prove himself. Jokic finishes it off, carries them. He wins the MVP because he keeps them afloat. The next year, Jamal Murray doesn't play at all. So for his team to 2 years ago be in the conference finals and to say that Jamal Murray is not going to be a ridiculous addition to the team, I think that's where we're. And he's 26 years old. That means this guy might have, if he would have been healthy, he might have been a 2-time All-Star by now.
By that understanding, then Anthony Davis is going to be MVP, and the Lakers are going to be number 2 in the Western Conference.
What do you mean?
If Anthony Davis is MVP, I will take that.
No, I'm saying so. By your guesstimations of how players are after 2 years off, or they've been really great in the bubble in that one situation, and then they have not played or been hurt. And then all of a sudden this year they're that.
But he was great. Jamal Murray was a great player.
Great. So was Anthony Davis.
And took his game to another
level. So was Anthony Davis. So then all of a sudden, why are we not putting the Lakers up there?
When it comes to who comes out of the West,
they're getting him back.
How about this?
They're getting him back.
According to odds, who comes out of the West? Warriors and Clippers, both favorites, around 3-1.
Yeah.
Suns 4-1. Lakers, Nuggets, Grizzlies, and Mavericks, all around 10-1.
Ooh, I put the Mavericks above
I don't put the
but
Mavericks
who's coming
there.
out of the West?
No, you can't be a single superstar and come out. You can't be a single superstar and come out.
So
say whatever you want. I think you could even say whatever. And when I say single superstar, when I say single superstar,
I think the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks make the second round, maybe Western Conference Final.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I don't think you can win a championship or even come out of the finals without having another all-star on your squad. And that's just true. And I don't see another all-star. Now, Christian Wood can make a big jump. And then the question would be, can he do it during the postseason? Right? Can he bring his same game and play at a high level during the postseason? And then do it all the way to the conference finals or finals. True. I don't see that from Christian Wood. Even if he does play great, it takes time to get there. So Dallas.
Let's not. Okay, I think
you're giving really great insight. Let me be honest. But it's still very early, right? So it's kind of hard because you're talking about players who haven't played, etc. So these are just those fun
being disrespectful to the Warriors. I think we're being very disrespectful.
I was going to ask why there's no.
I know. And after I took a second, I like the idea of the Clippers. But Richard makes a great point. What if Paul George? What if Kawhi? What if all these things? The Clippers on paper are built to beat. From the Suns to the Blazers, anybody, right? Because of their versatility, because of their coaching, because of their, just the way they play basketball is really good basketball. But then we totally take away what the Golden State Warriors have been doing over these years, looking at Kuminga's development, looking at if you can get 10 to 20 minutes at a James Wiseman, that's a whole nother team. That's a whole nother unit that they have never had or never shown since Andrew Bogut.
Then we start to get to the what ifs for them. That's the part where it's yes.
Okay, so
that's when we.
But I like their what ifs because their what ifs deal with
they're champions.
8, 9,
they're
10.
champions.
Their what ifs are 8, 9, 10, not 1, 2, 3. Right? I could deal with a what if for 8, 9, 10. Their 1 through 5 is already, and then their high draft pick has been balling.
Yeah.
And ready to go.
We got to take a quick break. So before we do, this is the final one.
You got to take a break.
Who's your pick to win this year's NBA championship? A couple of weeks before the season, that's when we're talking right now. Here are the odds. I find this to be really interesting. Celtics, 5-1. And then all around 8-1. Warriors, Clippers, Bucks, and Nets. Suns, 10-1. Sixers, Heat, 16-1. Lakers, Mavs, Nuggets.
Can I bet that? Can I bet against the Nets? Is that a thing?
I don't bet.
You're on
TV, you take them?
No, I want to bet against that they win it. Ooh. Somebody thinks they're not going to make the playoffs. That's crazy.
Who?
I could bet them to not make the playoffs.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's silly. Don't do that.
But what is
don't bet on them to
here's a let me just throw spaghetti against the wall, right, to see if it's done. What if they play the first 25 games, KD is healthy, Kyrie is healthy, somebody goes, I'll take a chance on those guys. So KD and Kyrie are gone, and all of a sudden you got Ben Simmons with the ragtag.
What does it sound like we're playing?
If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
Yep. The what if game. It sounds like we're playing the what if game. We can only talk about the absolutes.
Okay.
We can only talk about the absolutes.
All right, but we got to take a break.
The absolutes are there.
Richard, Allie said we had to take a break.
Fine.
I don't want to do it, but
great discussion. I didn't say that. You can wrap up.
I think the biggest here's my two thoughts, and I think we talked about this the other night. My biggest what if in the NBA is the New Orleans Pelicans, and we don't even talk about them. I think the New Orleans Pelicans are a
nowhere to be found.
Top, if they're healthy, top 5 team.
Wow.
Top 5 team in the West.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
The New Orleans Pelicans are.
Oh yeah, 4-1.
Yeah.
You know what the problem is.
That's a lot of what if.
This is the problem with me. Channing, this is the problem. You've seen it. You've played with Steve Nash, Grant Hill, Bron. You've played with the greatest players of our generation, and you see the level of obsession that the best player has to have.
Right.
They have to have it. Your leader, your best player has to be at a level of obsession. That's why it's the same people every year in the finals. Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan, Tim Duncan, LeBron. It's always the same fuckers in the finals,
right?
Because there's only a few people with those mentalities. So when I look at like the Pelicans, it's like I don't see Zion Williamson, quote unquote, having that type of like locked in focus.
Brandon
yet.
Ingram does.
Brandon Ingram does, but is he as great as all of the other guys that we just mentioned? So that's what I'm saying. It's like when we talk about contender, it does your best player have the psychotic take that it needs to lead them, right? That was something that was questioned by
what
Jason
I saw
Tatum.
Brandon Ingram do last year was embrace his talent, which is a weird click thing. Go, I'm different.
Nobody can fuck with me.
I'm different.
Yeah, nobody can fuck with me.
And what I have been hearing and seeing and what Willie Green is instilling in him, he was hurt the first 25 games of the year, and they were boo-boo, right? I think they were like 1-14 or 1-something, and they still made the playoffs and were out there doing this thing.
They were under 500. We can't just make the playoff statement like it wasn't like there's still some we can like
they weren't like 14. With no Zion, no CJ, no Brandon Ingram, no nothing. Their team was ragtag.
Jonas
Valanciunas they're trash.
You know who we need to bring in for this conversation?
Who?
Your BFF Channing, Larry Nance Jr. He'll settle it all for us.
No,
when it comes to the Pelicans.
I like the Pelicans.
All right, so who's your pick to win? Early here in September, and then we're taking a break.
Golden State Warriors. That's the easy pick.
Again?
I have to. It's hard for me not to. I saw Draymond Green. He looks in great shape. It hurts my heart.
I'm going to say the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks
win the whole thing?
No.
I thought you meant
win
the whole thing.
But
you're NBA champion.
You still have the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, why
you still have the Golden State Warriors?
I might have the Warriors again. They nice.
Yeah, but again, we like these are the way too early. We might as well pick these teams after the finals.
Yeah. The Generals. These are I picked the Washington Generals.
All right, well done by the both of you. You sound like expert. You sound like you guys won a championship in the NBA.
Nope.
We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Thank you.
Guys, I want to take a quick moment. We do it every week because it's genuine. We love them. Talk about a partner of ours that has a product that we personally love. We use every day. It is Channing. Athletic.
Give me my Athletic Greens.
Wow.
Athletic.
You are greedy rich. In case you have not heard about Athletic Greens yet, to our listeners, to our viewers, for example, we all got tired of taking multiple pills, vitamins every single morning. This is efficient, and it handles all the things that you need. It's a scoop of Athletic Greens and about 8 ounces of water. Tastes great, helps us feel our best. It's all about, obviously, improving our clarity, energy, overall health, if you will. It's packed with 75 high-quality vitamins and minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, and even probiotics. I love it. I will say this. I've gotten a bunch of people on it recently, and they have come to me, and I don't think I realized this, but I drink mine in the morning. They drink theirs, and it's kind of like a fast as well. Have you guys noticed that? You're not as hungry.
Oh yeah, well, because you're not hungry. You're not as hungry. That's the part. But you have the energy. You're not as hungry. It's not like the coffee where you get the jitters. It's not. You're not like eating some eggs where you get lethargic. An hour later. I don't know why you're sticking your tongue out, Channing, weirdo.
Because when Channing had his late nights here in Vegas, he actually called me this morning and said, "Do you got any one of those AG1 packets?"
Yeah, I take
it as recovery.
AG1s.
I take it as recovery.
Yeah.
The probiotics is what I really needed.
So we love Athletic Greens.
The suppositories.
Obviously, if you would like to jump on our train and see what it's all about, we have a great offer for you. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a 1-year free supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs, which is what we use all the time. With your first purchase, all you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/roadtrippin. Take advantage and ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional value in insurance now. Again, go to athleticgreens.com/roadtrippin and get started today. Went to dinner last night with Channing and our crew, and we get to this back room, and I was told, "Allie, you have to come meet someone. Someone is excited and wants to meet you." And what do you know? I find out it's an Arizona alum.
We're everywhere.
He had a lot to say about Richard. He's here celebrating his birthday because his beautiful wife planned this whole weekend in Vegas. Ivy.
Miss Ivy.
Is the wife. His name is Quynn Tebbs, and he's joining us now. I feel very outnumbered.
Oh, this feels good.
But welcome. How do you feel?
This feels good.
It feels nice to be here.
Yeah. he is fresh off the pool.
Straight just hot.
Hey, Quinn, I heard
pool.
you had a rowdy group, bro.
Oh,
Quinn, I heard
rowdy.
you had a rowdy group.
Super rowdy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Diet Cokes, a lot of waters. We were getting after it.
I would say everything but that.
Dude, Quinn, I'm gonna be the serious guy here. What was your high school like, and what made you go to U of A?
So my high school.
What, Channing?
Dude, I'm curious. I'm actually honestly curious. I've never actually asked Quinn about these questions.
Well, and
every
again,
time we meet, we're like out with 100 different people.
Yeah.
And U of A, there's like, oh, here's Steve Kerr, or here's Sean Elliott, or here's Michael Dickerson, and here's Gilbert, or you, or me, or Andre. And it's all these different people. And so you're like talking to everybody, but I never actually asked him what his high school was like and then why he chose U of A.
So
that's actually a great question.
It's a good question. Thanks, Rich. So that's I'm in Utah. I grew up in Utah. Played basketball there, and I played at a high school called Bingham High School.
Okay.
And we were, I think my senior year, we were the largest high school in the state.
Which is how many people?
We were at, I think, 3,500.
What?
Wow.
It was big. Yeah, it was 3 to 3,500 was our high school size. So it was
You
good,
don't even
good
know
size
half
school.
the people in your class. You go to college. That's a small junior college.
I'm good with faces. Okay. Anyways, I actually didn't. Coach Olson saw me in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Back when they had the Slam and Jam tournament. It's
yeah.
no longer, but we were at a Slam and Jam tournament, and Coach O showed up to actually watch another Utah team, and he was out in the hallways where you see the big boards and the brackets, trying to figure out who to watch and stuff. And he asked my dad. He said, "Hey, do you know where this Utah team's playing?" And I want to go watch, these two guys. And my dad said, "Well, they're playing over this other gym." He said, "I'm going to tell you, probably the best player in the state is playing in this gym. Maybe you ought to come by and watch him." He says, "Oh, what's his name?" He gave my name, and Coach O said, and he said, "And he's my son." And so Coach O, he said, "You know what? I'll come over. I'll come second half over, and I'll watch your son play."
That's awesome.
And so
that's a sick story.
Yeah. And so Coach O, true to his word, came over, watched us play. I think we were playing a team from Southern California. I think Chris Johnson was on it, and J.R. Henderson were on that team. And I had a really good game, played a really good game. And Coach O came up after the game, went and said, "I like your son.
Yeah.
He's a nice basketball player. And if it's all right with you, I'd like to recruit him."
Wow.
And that's how it happened.
Damn.
Right there on the spot? After
Right
just
there on the
watching
spot.
you
Well,
a half?
he watched a half, and then they just started following me. Then they put, and then Roz took over. And Roz was the one.
Rosborough.
Oh, Jim.
Who's that?
Jimmy
Greatest guy on
Rosborough,
planet Earth. That's who it is.
Literally, at college.
Salt of the earth.
Yes. If we were out acting stupid and somebody called, it was Roz who called us, who goes, "God, what are y'all doing? Go home." Like,
okay.
He was the
Let
guy.
me give you a kind of, like a side reference, but a much and I'm going to say this, a much cooler version. But how T. Lou has D. Jones, right? Where Lute Olson. Had Roz.
Yeah.
Had Roz.
Coach O slept so good on Saturdays where Roz was getting calls by the police Saturday night because one of us was getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Guys, I don't want to wake up this late. Now I got to wake you up."
Yeah, Roz is the best.
Yeah.
Dude, it was
he is one of the key pillars to the University of Arizona's success.
It's crazy.
I would say it's Lute Olson and Bobby and then him. He's that clown that just kept us all together. Only recruited a bunch of clowns. Because he was one.
Well, I felt like Roz was always like that, kind of that bridge between the players and Coach O. It was always like Roz was the guy that everybody went to Roz, and he took care of us all. He took care of everybody's problems.
Yeah.
In the classroom, he was on, are you getting into your, are you going to class? Are you getting your stuff done? And he would kind of help solve some issues there for some of us.
Look, we're not going to keep Quinn too long just because it is his birthday weekend.
Okay.
But the one thing I will say is I always razz Rich and Channing about, U of A, yada, yada, yada. They brag. But I actually deep down, I love listening to the stories. I think it's awesome. If there's anything I've actually learned last night being just kind of one of those reminders, is that you guys truly are a fraternity. And you kind of have reminded me a couple times that you guys didn't all play together. You were a senior when Rich was a freshman, and then you were even, right?
I transferred.
So, okay.
And that's what's great about Arizona. I had a family member that got leukemia back home.
Okay.
And so I'm going home to finish the play. I got to be with my family.
Got it.
But what is cool, what you're getting at is it doesn't matter like who you are. I always tell people like the totem pole of U of A basketball. You've got Sean, Steve, Damon, Rich, Channing, and on, Mike, Miles.
I don't know if I put Rich up there that high. I would put probably Andre up there, maybe,
You guys all just kind of beat to that natural.
Josh Pastner. Yeah.
You guys all just kind of beat to that natural love, like drum, and it's awesome.
Well, and what they did at U of A, and I think something that Coach O was very good at is he was good at finding guys that had great, like good character guys, guys that are. I mean, everybody that I meet that I don't play with, that I didn't play with, all of them are genuinely good people. Yeah. And so you can show up and, I'm on the very bottom of U of A totem pole. I was there for 2.5 years, and I was lucky enough to be on the '97 team that won the national championship. But they all treat you. They all treat you the same, and that's what's great. It doesn't matter who you are.
No, hell no.
Everybody's treated just with great respect.
Well,
it's always a great program.
It's always interesting because like everyone goes, "Oh, U of A, the program." Like you look at the NBA players, but then you look at the people who like Josh Rainey, for instance, or like you who are successful outside of that, or like, dude,
his name is Jason, but it's cool.
Jason. Sorry, Josh Pastner, who's that coach? Yes. So Josh Pastner, Jason Rainey. You look at Quinn. You look at who's the big time music producer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, now
they just ran his picture on the last Grammys.
It was crazy. He's like a Grammy award winning.
Come on, Mason.
Then we have
Mason,
Harvey. Yeah,
you were just gonna let him sit out there and struggle, Rich.
Yeah, I just wanted to see him. Let me see if these guys can figure it out.
Right? Then you have guys like Kenny Lofton, and you're like, holy shit! Like Kenny Lofton is like the man in baseball. And then you look at like he still comes back and does baseball stuff with us or basketball stuff with us. Like the program creates, and what Quinn is saying, the program creates great men who are successful in all areas, no matter what they do. And a lot of them are turned into coaches. A lot of them turned into very successful coaches. I mean, you look at Steve Kerr. He's a 5-time champion as a player. And I mean, he's a 4-time champion as a coach, right? That's a lot of rings. He's running out of fingers. He's got to put championship rings on his toes. But like, we just love the game and we love each other. And like when we see each other, especially the Coach O era guys, we all have a respect for the game because if you weren't doing your thing, Coach O would just tell you straight up.
Come on.
Oh.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Do your job. I remember I shot a step back my senior year. I've been working on it all summer. I've been barbecuing fools. I shot one step back, not even a three-pointer, step back, mid-range, bow. Dotted that thing. Channing, you could shoot that next year. And I was like, Coach, I'm a senior. He goes, exactly.
I love when everybody does like a Coach O impersonation. It's always like this long, drawn out, very like deliberate.
What are we doing? Dude. Channing, do you even want to be here?
You guys
I was like, Coach, I have nowhere else to be. I'm on scholarship.
I was going to say, let's hear your favorite Coach O story.
So, and it didn't even have anything to do with me. I just always found it to be so funny because like Coach O, he's a guy like, we're around him nonstop. The guy does not cuss.
Oh.
He will not curse.
Yeah.
And so we had this practice and it was just Coach O's like his style, right? Miles, something happened and Miles cursed. And Coach O, stop. For heaven's sakes, Miles, you have the mouth of a sailor. Get off the floor. Well, Miles walked the floor, tried to shuffle, sidekick him with his foot. Get off the floor. Jiminy Christmas. He was like that old school. Jiminy Christmas. Good gracious. For Pete's
Fully
sakes.
Toledo.
Flipping sugar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I heard him say bitch.
You've got more turnovers than a bakery. Yeah, that's the shit he would say to that.
You know Weeze, right? Jay West. He was my roommate when we were freshmen. And the best line of his was, he's like, Justin, You are slower than molasses in January.
What does that even mean?
I was going to say, why January?
But this is the funniest thing. We laugh about this. We all feared that man like he was God. We were all like the craziest people. Gilbert, myself, Luke, all these crazy people. We feared that man like he was God in college.
Like,
and that's what makes it even funnier. That's what makes it even funnier. The craziest people feared the nicest man, the nicest human being you could ever imagine.
Channing, everybody told me you're soft. Are you that guy? And I'm like, no. Oh, dude, like, I've seen him make a guy cry without crying. Like, he made players cry because you wanted him to just say, good job. That's all you wanted him to say was like, good job, or like, dude, I'm really proud of you. That when I was a senior, even after we lost to Illinois, him and I had a meeting in the back, right? Because obviously it's over. And he just looked at me in the eyes and was like, you know, I appreciate what you've done. You've given me everything that you said you would and more. And I love you. And, like, I'm really proud of you. And I didn't cry after we lost, right? Because, you know, games come and lose, and I didn't think it was my fault. I was balling out. Anyways, neither here nor there.
Because you're a man. Men don't cry.
Right, yeah, stop it. Men cry all the time. I cry sometimes when I'm listening. I watched the Will Smith episode where, you know, his dad left. I cry every time. Anyways, but, like, that is all I ever wanted from him. You know, my parents were on his ass all the time about, what are you doing with Channing and this and that? And they used to hold my parents at bay and never tell me. And then after we got older, he would tell me these funny stories. We'd be drinking wine, and he'd tell me these stories about how my parents would call after I didn't play. And he's like, guys, are you at practice with him? You know, like,
Stop it.
And my dad and mom are like, no, so you make a good point. Okay, we'll leave you alone, coach. But, like, that is so wild. Think about how the talent from when he came there to when he left or when he was done, and every player, and how it was like there was never a point where somebody goes, oh, he didn't get the best out of that guy. Mm-hmm. And so each person, all they wanted all the time, and just making this a long story long, Coach O you just wanted to make him happy because he wanted the best out of you. He saw shit out of me that I didn't even see.
Yeah.
Right? He thought I looked like Sean Elliott. I didn't see it out of you, you little ballhead fuck.
I didn't see it either. I don't know what the hell he saw in you.
You know what? They thought I looked like Sean Elliott.
Hey, when Ludos was
Sean.
like, hey, Richard,
that was the first thing
we're going to be recruiting Channing FRYE. Well, you're a Phoenix kid, because there's very few Phoenix kids that ever got the opportunity. Channing was the third kid. Mike Bibby was the first.
Yep.
Phoenix. Mike Bibby was the first.
And then
I was the second, and then Channing, and then Jared Bayless.
And then
so
one
then
more.
It became a little bit of a thing.
And then DeAndre Ayton.
Who am I missing? Well, but DeAndre Ayton was like kind of be a proxy. He didn't like grow up in Phoenix. But my point is that when he was like, hey, we're going to be recruiting Channing. And I was like, wait, let me see. So we all went down there and we kind of helped with the recruiting, but more of just like via support.
You got me drunk.
We drove down. That's what I'm saying. We drove down from college to go watch Channing play. Me, Luke, Gilbert, and Jason Gardner, like
I saw that
at 17 years old. So it's funny that like we've been supporting each other like this since we were kids.
Yeah.
Right? Like all of the stories, all of the stuff. We see Quynn, we see his wife, all of this stuff. It's just like it's been so cool to do this at 15, 16, 17, 18 years old and still be doing it in your 40s.
I'm not 40
we
yet.
think it's normal, but it's not normal.
Okay.
It's not normal. That's not the way normal teams and schools work.
And I'll tell you a really quick story, Allie, that kind of sums up, you know, kind of how good these guys are. So my son, he's a senior. He plays basketball back in Utah at Corner Canyon High School. They're actually in Long Beach right now playing in a tournament. But we were at Section 7 in Arizona. And this was maybe 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm walking into the gym, it was in the Cardinal Stadium, a bunch of courts they'd set up. And also I look where I'm like, is that Mike? Like when you hear Mike talk, he's got a distinct voice.
Yes.
And he's just yoked. He's huge. And I'm like,
it looks like a wrestler.
I'm like, that's Mike. So I went up behind him and I was like, excuse me, Mr. Bibby, can I have an autograph? He was on the cell phone.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna bug him. I'm like, sir. And he's like, oh my gosh. And so it was my son's birthday, and Mike said, I'm going to come watch your son play. Let me get off this phone call, come in and watch. And so my son, like I said, it was his birthday while we were there, and I just said, hey, Mike, you mind just sending my son a happy birthday wish? And he's like, absolutely. And so I just reached out to some of these guys on social media and texted a few, and I said, hey, you know what? My son's here with his team. Would any of you mind sending a message? I mean, JT, Rich, Channing, Mike, all these guys step up and, they step in and do something for just a kid turning 18.
Yeah. Which is a big deal.
It's a huge deal to him.
Yep.
And as their dad, it's a big deal to me because it's like, hey, you know what? Yep. These guys don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But, they take a little time out of their schedule and just run off a little message. I'm telling you, U of A guys are great guys.
And you're giving back to these two U of A guys. The weekend that you were celebrating your birthday, it was a very late night for you, or early morning, shall I say. You're at the pool, and you decide to come in and chop it up with us. Hey, how about that?
Appreciate it.
My guy.
Yeah.
That's our guy, Quinn. What up, bro?
These stories will never get old. I love it. I really do. I razz you guys a lot, but I think it's awesome. So much respect.
Yeah. So it's a great brotherhood. I'm just happy I was a part of it just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it really, you make have a lot of lifelong friends, and just great guys.
Yeah. Quinn, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Q.
Thanks, Rich.